Just a note, I want to get this part out because it's a correction to the last video. So here it is. Alright everybody, well, it's come to the point of where I'm going to put the platforms on the pipe runs. And because of looking at them now, I have changed my mind. You can't put 4 together. Because when you do, you're going to be a 1/4 inch short. And that's because the Walthers kits are made incorrectly. There's no other reason for it. They are just not made right. Notice when I put this here where it belongs, look where this ends up. Now that should center on top of this, and this one's even leaned back. So the pipe runs are all correct. These supports are all in the right place, which some of them don't match up anyway. There's other ones that do match perfectly, and then other ones don't. And then you end up with this, where you've got a space between the support and the platform. So if you put 4 together, by the time you get to here, you're about a 1/4 inch short. So the best you can do is 2 at one time. That's still going to leave a space in between platforms, because these have to line up for the distribution pipes have to line up to go up here. So you can't have these not lining up. So the best thing that's going to happen is we're going to have to leave a space in between each platform, and then figure out at what point do I put something in between the platforms. They're just not formed right. The plastics, the kit is old. The molds were created in 1998. Shrink, the molds shrink. They, over time, they happen to lose their tightness, and that's why you get flash, things like that. It's just the heat, the expansion and the contraction, expansion and contraction from the injection process. It just it ruins molds over the time, and that's what's happened here. There's just no getting around it. Walthers has put this kit out for too long without making new molds, and that's shame on them. So, and I hope they hear this. So what we're going to have to do is do 2 at a time. These don't fit properly. There's just no way to make them fit properly. It's unfortunate, but I don't think they're going to change. They're probably like every other company. They're more worried about making money than putting out a great product. So let's glue 2 of these on at a time and see what we come up with in the middle, and then we will go from there. What I've decided to do to make this a little bit better, like I said, everything's just too warped on it. So with the 2 sections together, it's of course coming closer to where it should be. You can see that it's still not quite where it should be, because this should be touching this middle support here, and it's not doing it. It's almost there. But what I'm doing is I'm closing everything up with a strip of styrene. Now once this gets painted, that white styrene of course won't be very noticeable. This is 10,000 strip styrene by 156. Okay, 0.156 and 10,000ths. So it seems to fit just right. I have it down here. You can see I've got some weight on this drying it. But I've got a couple joints like that are currently drying. And that seems to be doing the trick. So that's bridging the gap between the platforms, so we don't just have an open space there. So let me go ahead and glue this next one on with you watching. Here we are. Now let me glue this on. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the glue on the supports. Since I'm not exactly sure where this is going to line up, it should be in the right spot. Like I said, this should have come all the way to the end of this, and it noticeably doesn't. So let me get some weights. I've been using these little 1/2 ounce tire weights to lay on it. Now the little strip I've cut here is the length, or I'm sorry, the width of the platform. It's kind of hard to pick up since they're so thin. And I'm just going to dab a little glue right here on the edges of both of these platforms. Don't need very much at all. And then just put the lay the little strip down. Make sure it's straight. And make sure that this is flush. And I still have to make sure the pipe runs are straight while I'm doing this. And I'm just going to lay some more weight on top of it. Keep them down. Okay, let's do one more here. What's supposed to happen, I don't know if you can see this on the bottom. When you glue two together, you'll notice it forms the place for it to sit on the supports. But if one of them's short, then it doesn't sit correctly on the supports like it's supposed to. And that's what's happening when you have these glued together. Then they don't sit exactly right like they're supposed to. So there's always that gap in between. Except for this one, of course, it made a liar out of me. But the reason it isn't is because because these pipe runs aren't exactly right. It's tilted backwards, so it does actually happen to touch where it's supposed to. All right. Glue these. This is just the joys of putting together some of these kits, especially some of these older ones. You've got to find a way to make them work, because they don't really work like they should. And that's a shame, because they could be nice kits. But they're just not made like they should be because of the age of the kit. And there we go. Put some weight on there to hold it down. And once again, I'm going to sight it. Make sure it's straight. That's going to be the hardest thing about this, getting this all straight, especially at this length. It's just one of those things. All right, let's put a little glue here. So you don't really need a lot right here. Because these thin styrene strips just don't require a lot of glue. That's probably way more than I need. I gotta push that down because I want to make sure it's flush, that each walkway is flush to the next one. So this is my reminder, this is my correction to the previous video. Don't do these in any more than pairs, just because of how they work out on the pipe run. So if you're doing two, great. If you're doing more than that, two at a time is just enough. I had said 4 originally because that made them manageable to handle. But I didn't realize that the kits were going to be warped so badly and off so badly, you know, shrunk to the point of where they didn't fit like they did. So a maximum of 2. All right, thank you for watching, and we'll be back after we glue all these platforms on. We'll be back with the next part eventually. So thanks for watching.